This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, Azra.
Hello. Hi. Hi. Good morning, Manoj.
Is all,
Yeah.
all is well, or you are?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, last week there was some confusion and I couldn't join. I was not keeping well for a day.
Okay.
So
So now you're feeling better, or what?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's just that sometimes I get caught up with work and extend in the night, right? So then
Oh,
yeah, Bangalore weather is crazy. But how is it with you? Everything good?
it's good. It's good. Everything good.
Okay. So any questions from our previous session?
Not yet. Just wrapping and recapping all the topics again and again while you are not coming on the
Yeah.
classes.
Good. Okay. No worries. Okay. Mhm. Just to recap on what we did last session, we spoke about how the QVD layers formation are, what we do, and what exactly like an architecture or a structure we can set it up for this. Right. Once we have done this, what we created the extractor, and we were working on the work app. So in the extractor, basically, we just extracted the data and stored it into the tables that we needed. And we named the tables accordingly, right? So, okay. Now, when we stored these tables, right? So, you know this naming convention. So we have this names that are given over there. So when you put QVDs in these layers, multiple layers that we were talking about, you could name them as you think or as you want them to, right? So one is straight away table names. Two, you might want to split these QVDs. Over here, you can do a lot of things as you do it in any data warehouse concept. So in a data warehouse concept, you'll have, right, landing, storage, processing, aggregation table, data marts. So you can do that. While you do that, there are various those concepts that you might want to apply so that your data is optimally stored, or more than storage. See, there is a concept of retrieval. So generally, you store data to retrieve it fast. That is the overall concept of a data warehouse. So the storage becomes critical as to how you store it. So here you could split the QVDs into any form that you want, right? Generally, you can segment it. They call it as a segmentation.
Okay.
So what does this mean? For example, you segment it based on time or business unit, category. When I say time, most often used is time. Okay. Very rarely, or
So
sometimes you use it.
segmentation means distribution, distribution of the data.
Yes, distribution of the data, or yeah, simply put, splitting data.
Okay.
For example, I have sales order detail, right? So generally, most of the times we use time. When we use time, let's assume I have sales order detail. So in sales order detail, I have 4 years of data. So what I will do, what you could do is you could create 4 QVDs, that is one per year.
Okay.
Right. So now, okay, you create one per year. Why would you do this? Sometimes in your analysis, you might not load all 4 years of data, right? So they might say, no, I don't need to load 4 years of data. I just need rolling 12 months or last 12 months or current year data. So if you store one big QVD, then there'll be a lot of questions around how do you load this one big QVD data. Now, if you basically when you do a full load, right, from the app, it will
Hmm.
always read this one big QVD. Now, instead of that, when you store like 4 QVDs, when your business user tells you that no, read only 1 year data, so your QVD, the data that you have to load is only less, very less. And as we go forward, you'll see certain techniques where we don't load entire data into the memory. We load only summary level and pick up only the related data from the database. So these are the new concepts in Qlik. So if I have to say, these are, while two of them have been for last 2 years, but there's a very latest concept which is going great in Qlik, which just got released in April. So using the advantage is we don't have to load the entire data set into in memory. So it is called as on-demand app generation and dynamic views. So these are the two key things that allow you to manage terabytes of data. Otherwise, imagine, because it is in memory, everything that you load will go into in memory. What that will do is you'll end up having a very requirement for a very large RAM.
Hmm.
Okay? So here, what I want you to focus or understand is this naming convention is very key, right? So this sales order detail. So
Okay.
you can set it up at anything. Now, how do you change this naming convention? There are various aspects, right? So you can just underscore 2020, okay? Or you could set up a month. You could set up a variable and apply the variable. Okay. As we go forward, I will also explain to you how you could loop it. Now, what I just showed you is the naming convention. Okay, the idea that I
Hmm.
explained to you why we need naming convention to store QVDs separately. Now, how do we break this into multiple QVDs? That is something that we'll see in the scripting. So we have loops, so we'll understand that.
Okay.
All right.
Uh, Ajra, I have one question. While creating a new app, I need to always create a new connection for the file. Why is it so? Because in the Qlik, if one time if we create the connection, it will store in their memory. But in my case, it's not showing. Every time I need to create a connection again and again.
Yeah, in the local desktop.
Yeah, in the local desktop.
Yeah, I think desktop is more app based, so it does not store the connection centrally. So
Okay.
local, see, server, what happens is your connections are stored centrally, and you can manage the connection centrally so that you can assign the connection to other people. In a desktop, there is no management console, right? So it is purely a app based thing. So it is for per app basis. That is why you are, I think, having that struggle.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Last time we saw where exist, right? Today,
Hmm.
what we'll quickly see is how joins work in ClickSense, right? It's no different than a SQL scripting. So you would have seen SQL scripting all your life in a normal join process, right? So you understand how joins work in SQL script, right?
Right.
For example, let's say I have two tables. I have actual, load. Uh, okay, this is, we have now in Qlik. Last time I spoke to you about different kinds of loads, right? So I spoke about load statement, preceding load, resident load. SQL is the database connectivity. Load is the Qlik native flag file connectivity. Preceding load is like a subquery. We'll come to resident load when we do it. Now we'll look at inline statement also. So inline load is like hard coding a table. For example, here I have told load star, right? I'm using a keyword load star, but what I'm telling is load it from this hard coded table. So in Qlik, in the script itself, I'm hard coding it. So the keyword is inline, and then I give the table and say delimiter is common. So what I have done, sales, actual, month. So there are 3 columns, and the data also is in the subsequent rows. So you're seeing that rep 1, comma 10, comma Jan. So that way I'm kind of trying, I've defined this as one table. So this is one best thing or good thing that you can use. But like last time we discussed, it will be purely hard coded. The idea is if you want to edit something, you'll have to come back over here. Why would you do this? Sometimes you might you might want to filter data, you might want to process data. Last time we discussed about where exist, right? So for where exist also, we used inline load to do this. All right, so I've used inline table. So there are 2 tables. One is sales actual rep, and the second table sales target month, right?
Month.
Now what is happening for each sales rep? I have different targets: Jan, Feb, March, right? So sales rep 1 Jan, sales rep 1 Feb. Similarly for other reps also I have this. Now in Qlik joins, there are multiple kinds of joins. So let's say join. In SQL, if I have to name the joins, you have outer join, inner join, left join, right join. So do I have to explain the joins? Right? You understand, right? Outer join brings all the data.
Yeah.
Inner join brings
All the
matching data. Yeah.
matching data,
Inner
and left join
join.
pulls from the left side.
Correct. So it's the same concept in Qlik.
Okay.
It's the same concept in Qlik. So
Hmm.
you have, so in Qlik, the keyword is join, right? So
Okay.
if you don't mention anything and just use the keyword join, it is a full outer join.
Okay.
Right? So this is in Qlik, generic SQL. If you don't mention anything, it is a join, or it is famously also called as natural join. Not a lot of people use this terminology, but when in Qlik, if you say, okay, natural join, that means you are not mentioning anything and it is a SQL. The keyword is not natural join, it's just the terminology, not natural join. Keyword is still the word join. So I say join does the auto join. Other joins have the same keywords. Inner join is spelled as inner join. So it will be inner join, left join will be left join. And I have right join. And accordingly, I have this. Now, if I go here, now in SQL, you have to explicitly mention or declare the join criteria. What do I mean by that? So you'll have to say that, okay, table dot field is equal to table dot field. Right? This is a property that you have to declare in SQL. So in
Yes.
Qlik, yeah, in Qlik we don't have to do that. It is basically associative engine. What do I mean by that? You remember we discussed about association. It happens based on field names.
Mm-hmm.
So in Qlik, when I bring in data, okay, we have not discussed that in detail, but we'll discuss as we go forward. When we bring data in Qlik, it always associates table with the field names. There are 2 aspects of Qlik. One is a wizard based, one is a script based. When you do
Right.
wizard based, there is cognitive engine which profiles the tables and does the data. But in script based, it is purely on field names. So if the field names are matching, that means the tables are associated. We'll come back more on that. Now, in join also, the same concept works. I don't mention any field, but what I'll do is I'll say join. Okay, I'll not mention anything. I'll just change this field name to month 2. So now what we technically have is only 2 fields matching, right? Single field from each table. When I hit load, so now it fetches the table. In the end of the result, it's a full outer join, or you can just call a outer join. I have data from both the tables. So I have rep 1, I have Jan, Feb, rep 2, rep 6, I have Jan, Feb.
So every time
Now,
when we join, okay, got it.
what we'll do is we'll also delete some records and check. For example, I will not put this. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Now there are less, there are more number of records here and less number of records here. So it will still do a full join, full outer join, like how you do it. You see still 5 and 6 are available over here.
Why is it so? 54.
Because it's outer join, right? Outer join will bring data from both the tables.
Both the tables, but in first table there is less, and in second table there is more data, right?
Yeah. So, okay. The reason was there was still repo 5 and repo 6 in the second table. Now, see, over here I have repo 5 and repo 6. Here I don't have any data for repo 5, repo 6. When I load, the outer join concept is all records from both the tables. So right now it has brought all the records from both the tables, irrespective of they're matching or not. So where they
Yeah,
are
right.
not matching, there's blank. Correct.
Blank. Okay, now it's correct.
The earlier it was because I had it for Jan data. Suppose I do it the other way around. For example, I have 4 here. I will remove 4 from here. Right? It would do the other way around. So it would bring in 4 from the other table, but ideally it will be all records from all tables. So if you see here, 4 has come in over here. Correct? This is the outer join, right?
Right.
Okay. Now I have this. Now let's for the same data set, let me do a left join. For example, I don't have 4 or more than before left join. Let's do inner join. Inner join. When I load this, so it will just bring matching records from both tables. If there is any missing record from either table, it will not bring in those. So ideally 4 and 5 were missing, 4, 5, 6 were missing. So it is just bring in 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
This makes right.
Right.
So the main concept here is the association. If I just change this, suppose I say inner join and I change this field, it won't work. It will by default do a Cartesian product. You understand Cartesian product, right? Basically just multiplies the values. It will do a full outer join irrespective of whatever kind of join you have written.
No, I didn't get it.
In a normal SQL statement, you give this, right? Table
Right.
field is equal to, right? Which field? In Qlik, basically what I said, if it is
Associative
common
engine.
field name,
Yeah.
yeah,
Common.
associative engine, if the field names are common. Now imagine I've given these two tables where there are no fields which are common. That means in a normal SQL script, I'm not mentioning this, any criteria for join. So I think in a SQL script, this fails. But in Qlik, what it does is it does a Cartesian product. That means for every one record in this table, it will create these many records. For every this record, it will create these many. That is called as a Cartesian product,
Okay. Okay.
right? It is basically a weird methodology. So that's why you need to be very careful. In Qlik, it does not fail. So whenever you do any join and you don't have common field names, it will not fail. It will just do Cartesian product. That is where you end up struggling sometimes when you don't observe whether the field names are right or wrong and you just use them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, let's look at left join. So I have left join. I hit load. Okay, I did the same mistake. Again, let me make the field names common. I'll do a left join. What is this left join giving me? It will give me all the records from the left table. In this
Left.
scenario, left table is the first table and the matching records from the second table. So in this scenario, first table, right? So what is the first
Mm.
table? First table has 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So it is
6.
bringing all, yeah, it is bringing all records from the first table and only matching records from the second table. Okay. This, now, see, in an outer join, it did not matter much. But now, if you keenly observe left join, right? For rep 1, Jan, target is 10, month is Jan. For rep 1, Jan, target is 15, it is showing month
Feb.
to Feb.
Feb.
So the thing is, the join is happening only on the sales field. It is happening only on the sales field. But in my case, for rep 1, Jan, I want only Jan target. I don't want Feb target, right? If Feb is not here in the data, I don't need Feb target. So that is where the so the second level of complexity comes. One field, great. It is basically same field name. Now in SQL, if you want two fields, basically you give another field, right? So you say and or, you use a or
Yeah.
condition, sorry, and condition and give another table, right? Is equal to field 2.
Hmm.
So in Qlik, the same concept applies, but again, using our associative engine. How does it work? The field name should be same. So if you want joins on multiple fields, all you have to make sure is the field names are same. So in this scenario, I have Jan month and sales rep 1. So I want to do a left join. I have two fields in common, month and sales. I'll just load this. Now I will get the right data set that I want, which is basically only the records from the first table and the subsequent matching. Now you don't see Feb data. Right?
Hmm.
What I'm getting sales rep 1, 2, 3, 5, month and target. So this allows me to manage my joins effectively. Right. Now, if I do, instead of left, if I do right, You know this. In this scenario, the top table is left table, bottom table is right table.
Is the
So it
right
will
table.
bring all the records from the right table. That means it won't bring 5, 6. It will bring 1, 2, 3, 4, and the matching records from the first table. So if I go here now, here I will get both Jan and Feb, but only the actuals would be mapped to the Jan. So if you see here, rep 1, I have Jan data. Rep 2, I have Jan. Rep 3, I have Jan. So that is way, this way I can always match information. Okay. So this was about joins. Right? Now, there are scenarios. For example, okay, let's see if I have this statement over here. Right, I have this data set. So you're clear with this right join, left join, right?
Right.
So let's see the new scenario. So the scripting process in Qlik is this, right? So it starts from the main table, main script, goes to the second script, and you can think of it as a one big script. So basically, it is just starts from the first tab and it continues to the second tab. So wherever you want the script to stop, you can use exit script as an option, right? If you write here, that means it would start from the main and end over here. So it won't process any script that is beyond after this keyword. So just to now the main thing is over here. Now let's understand this table, right? So I have first table, customer ID, sales amount. Okay. I have second table, customer ID, invoice amount, tax amount. Now, basically what it is, I have customer ID, sales amount is 50. I have customer one, invoice and tax amount is 10. Right? Customer one, invoice two, tax amount is 5. Let's load this first. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm just doing customer ID, customer ID. If I load this, the thing that I want you to observe is here I don't have customer 4, but in my invoice ID, I have customer 4 information. Now, how does this look in the front end? So I'll just create some random charts. Okay. In the back end, the data model is clear. It is basically two tables. In the first table, I have customer 1, 2, 3. In the second table, I have customer 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in the front end, this is how it is going to look. Right? Customer 1, sales, total sales amount, tax amount, invoice amount. If I were to put them into one table box, what you're here, there are 2, 3 aspects that are happening over here. One, because my second table has multiple records, my first table values repeat. You see there 50, 50, 20, 20, 30, 30. I'm okay with repeating, but what, right? But in the associative engine, the advantage is calculation is not double. What I mean is, for example, let's say I want to see the total amount. Let's say I use total sales amount. Total sales amount is 100. How does it do 100? So it is not double counting 50. It is just taking 50, 20, 30. So that is total is 100 for all the customers. So if I select one customer, it is still showing total sales amount as 50 only. It is not double counting it. So associative engine helps me not to avoid duplication. What do I mean? For example, now a lot of people do this. I have this customer for additional record, right? Which is not there in my first table. So what people say, okay, I don't need this record. So most of the people do a left join, right? Or maybe you're forced to do a left join in a scenario. Let's assume I'm forced to do a left join. Now, when I do a left join, my what I do is with the help of left join, I'm eliminating the record that I don't need. Right? This record I don't need. So in my front end, I've eliminated it. So you don't see customer 4, customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, 50, 50, 20, 20. But what also happens with double,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So this is called as a spasm effect. Also, a lot of challenge in SQL for this. It is double counting the records, right? In a real world use case, it is always double counting. So this, I don't know if you have faced this kind of challenge in MicroStrategy.
No, I didn't, because there are many ways to handle this.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there are ways to handle in every tool, but the easiest way in Qlik is using the associative engine, right? So what I can do is I don't have to do joins itself. I can leave this table as is, load it, and my associative engine takes care of the basis the association. My problem is solved. The only challenge is this customer 4. How do I eliminate this customer 4? So what I can do is,
Null,
so basically I have to do left join. So I don't have to filter. I mean, sorry, what did you say?
null.
Yeah. So you don't have to do all of that null or challenge. In Qlik, we have something called as keep. Like how join is there, right? How we have join, we have something called as keep.
So
Okay.
keep what it does not take the null values.
No. I'll tell you. So in join, what happens? So when I put two tables, it returns one table, right? So when I give two tables for a join, the result is one table. Right? Basically, that is how join works, right? So inner
Right.
join, left join, right join. But in keep, let me say I gave two tables, it will return two tables. So the concept is little interesting. How does it matter? How does it work? So let's say I just said left keep. Okay. Now this left keep will process a left join for both the tables. So basically, what is a left join concept? All records from the first left table and matching records from the right table. So it will process a left join. It will bring all these three records. It will do a left join. It will bring only the matching records. But end of the day or end of the script, it won't create a single table. I'll show you this in action. So now I loaded this. It has not created a single table. It has created two separate tables, but technically it has processed a join. So first table, I have three records. In the second table, you don't see customer 4, right? So it is not only nulls. Over here, you are telling, okay, if it is not matching, it is null, right? It is not about nulls. It is about data. So it is about how do I do a left join, but still use the associative engine power. Now what I'm doing is, if I do a left join, if I do a join, it will create a single table. So best is do a keep. So my front end, now it is not double counting. So customer 1, 2, 3. Though in the display it is 50, 50, but it will still give me only 100. So left keep plays a quite pivotal role for us because it does a lot of things.
Okay.
Right. So
So
similarly, like
whenever we use joins and we require to keep only the records which have the values, so just we need to be use the left then keep or right then keep, right?
yes, inner
Okay.
keep, left keep, right keep. There is no outer keep. It's just left, right, or inner keep.
Okay.
So the idea is you process a join, but you don't really create a single table. So how is this useful? Like I said, in most of the scenarios solutions you run into these challenges, but in Qlik it's much simpler to manage. So using keep, I can do that much easier processes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this was left keep. Let's just go up, go back to our earlier script. Right. Now I'll come back to this. Over here we did right join, we did left join. We can use keep, right? So whatever you learned. Do you want to understand more about keep? But you understand, right? So we have inner keep, we have left keep, right keep. So all of these three will process these respective joins, and basis the join, it will create two separate tables.
Okay.
All right. Now let's see. I have first table, left keep, second table. Now sometimes in this scenario, I have sales actual month, I have sales target month, right? So I have right join. Let's assume I don't give right join. I'll just name this as target. So have you run into a multi-fact challenge?
No.
Multi-fact table?
No.
Okay, okay, fine. We'll discuss that. Before that, let me show you something quickly. Okay. Let's say I create a new app, 6x6, concatenate. So in Qlik, when I bring in tables, so over here I'll go to the script. So let's assume I bring in a single table. Sorry, I have the QVDs. I'll go here. So these are the QVDs that I created. So let me say I brought in product category QVD. So there are 4 records, right? You see 4 records: category ID, name, row ID, GUID. I'll remove this. Okay, this structure is too small. I just want to take a little bigger structure. Let's stick with sales territory ID. Now, I've loaded this table once. Let's hit load. Now, what is happening?
Semicolon. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what is happening? I'm getting 10 records, right? So 10 territory IDs, 10 records. Now, let's say I loaded this table again. I'll name this territory as territory 2. But this is the capability of Qlik, or default capability of Qlik, which a lot of people ignore and get into trouble. The reason is, you see this 10, it says 10 fetched, then it says 20 fetched. Right? What is happening in the backend is, it is not 2 tables. Ideally, it should be 2 tables, right? Territory and territory 2. So in Qlik, it does not work that way. If you're loading tables, or if you're loading 2 tables who are structurally identical, in this case, what happened was, I'm using the same number of fields over here and same number of fields over here. It basically concatenates and creates, it duplicates the records. Basically, if you see here in this table, 1 to 10, again 1 to 10. So what Qlik does is, this is called as natural concatenation or automatic concatenation. You don't have to do anything. You just basically load the file and Qlik automatically concatenates the structure, the tables if the structure is same. Okay, there are advantages and disadvantages of this. Disadvantage, now here I'm trying to create a separate table, but it is concatenating automatically. Advantage is, imagine if I am loading sales territory data from 4 different tables or 10 different files. You remember I spoke to you about, right? Creating separate QVDs for 2000 for year or month. And if I want to load
Multiple
all the
QVDs.
months QVD, yeah, all I have to do is give star. That means it will load all the QVDs starting with name sales territory, and they will automatically concatenate into a single table. You don't have to work or create any script to put all the data into a single table. Make sense?
Okay. Okay. Just put the star at the end
Yeah,
of the file name.
end of the file. So it will load and it will automatically concatenate the entire data set. So it will load 10 records from first, 10 from second, and it will append the files. For
But
example,
in
let
that case, it will load all the files data. So again, it's impacting the memory.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But what I'm trying to tell is sometimes you might get it. For example, in say in real life, you're right. When I'm creating huge data set, I want to load, I'll create it by year or month and split that. But in a scenario where you might get data in Excel files or any other flat file, here I'm using QVD. So you might get it in Excel file. So you might get it for like say March, right? So I'll just copy paste April. The thing is, you might, okay, apart from the QVDs that you create, you might get a lot of data from external sources, right? If your business users say, no, I'm maintaining some Excel file data and I'll give you the Excel file every month, right? So monthly ones you get the Excel file, or monthly ones you get any file, or daily you get one file. So that is where you will have to use this. It's not like for the QVDs that you split. I'm just telling the idea is if you get data in a split format, you can use this. For example, what I can do is I can go to multi QVD here. I'll say sales order territory load star. I'll comment this. Now, if I load this, if you see here, it loaded March, April, May, March.
Hmm.
Okay, you're focusing on, see, we are discussing the same topic in the same day. That's why you're focusing there. Of course, we will split the files and load only the files that are required. So this concept is different. This concept is applied when you have huge data sets and you work with it. So you apply this very well. But this concept that I'm talking about, concatenation, right? This is when
Hmm.
you use it when you get into that scenario. Not necessarily you use both at the same place, right? So when you use multiple, when you're getting file data in multiple files, that is when you use concatenation. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. So if I need to load a multiple file from the any location, let's suppose
Yes,
I have multiple Excel sheet with the same headers and the all the data set, right? In the all the Excel. So just I need to put the headers like this and click on the load button. It will fetch all the data from those files, right?
correct, correct.
Like,
Yes,
yeah, okay.
yes, yes. So don't put everything together as in, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. The idea is these are all concepts, right? So basically,
Mhm.
splitting files is a concept to optimize load. As we go forward, you'll understand where this is used. Concatenation is a concept where you use it for when you want to load data from multiple files. Now, every feature or capability has multiple effects, right? Like I said, while concatenation has an advantage, right, the advantage is I don't have to mention or loop. Generally what you do is you loop the files, right? If you want to load 10 files, then you loop them, then you put them into a table, any scripting mechanism. Here it is much
Right.
easier. You just have to load those files. Qlik will automatically take care of the concatenation part. These are that is what it is. Now let's say I don't want to load multiple files. I'm loading this own file. Okay. The other type of load statement that we have is I have loaded this data already in memory. I want to reload this data. What I'm doing is I'm going to connect again to the script and bring in sales territory. I'm naming it as a separate table, but still Qlik is considering it as one table, like concatenating it and creating one table out of it, which is hampering my work. Now in this scenario, what I want is, the thing that I want to observe is auto concatenation and no concatenation. When does Qlik not concatenate? If there is any change in the structure, right? For example, I don't have one field over here, which was over here. Any smallest change in structure, Qlik will not concatenate. It will create a synthetic key. We'll discuss what synthetic keys are separately. So it will create a synthetic key. I think we discussed it, right? So I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
Last,
already
last
discussed.
yeah, we discussed, right? So it creates synthetic key. What is synthetic key? It's a common field. It's a composite key. Right? So
Composite key. Yeah.
even if one field is different and all the other fields are same, you see here it created a very big synthetic key with all the fields. Now you get into a problem. Now what happens? Okay, one thing is, yes, my problem is solved. I wanted two tables. I got two tables. I got territory 2, territory, and I have the synthetic table. You know how to solve synthetic keys, right? The last time you remember, I can make a concatenation or
Con
rename the fields, manage them. Yeah,
yeah. Or make a common key.
correct. Make a common key. Now we'll not go there. So far, my objective is not. So the idea is I wanted to highlight, even if one small field name is different, a structural change, Qlik will not auto concatenate. Okay. So this is one solution to, if I want I want the same table twice. All I have to do is change something in the structure and I'll have the same table twice. Now let's assume I get this data, okay, but my business requirement is I want to forcefully concatenate these two. Right now, my business problem changed. Okay, I'm getting data in two files. There is structural difference between the data set, and I want to forcefully concatenate this data. So in Qlik, what I can do is I can say concatenate. Okay, like how we wrote join, I can just say concatenate and hit reload. So now what this does is it will, irrespective of the structural difference, it will forcefully concatenate both the tables. Wherever there is no data, it will leave it as blank. It is not even null. So you see here row GUID. From the first table, it brought row GUID. From the second table, nothing is there. So it is leaving it blank. So it will create this kind of, I wouldn't say outer join, but it forcefully will concatenate it. For example, instead of row GUID, I'll name this as row GUID second. Right. Now if I load, sorry, I think it will create two separate row GUID columns. So ideally it will forcefully concatenate and it will not align the records. So for example, you have row GUID, or here it will have a second row GUID. So for the first table, the records will be null. From the second table, this row GUID column records will be null. So the idea is when you run into a situation where you have two files, with structural change. What would be the use case? For example, today they might give you a file, Excel file, right, to load the data you're working. So tomorrow they might just add a new column. So you might want to concatenate both the data, right? So of course you need to take the new column also. So you can do something. You can use this as forced concatenation.
Okay.
Now in both this join and concatenate, one thing you can observe is I didn't mention which table. For example, I've just told concatenate. And even in joins, I just mentioned join. Right. So where is the join script? Here. In the join statement also, I just mentioned left keep, left join. Right. So let me come back here. I just said left join. Now there is additional syntax to it, right? So one, I can just use the keyword. When I use the keyword, it does join to the preceding table. That means it does not check whether the table makes sense or not, right? Whatever table you have preceding, it will join. For example, if I put in some inline, another inline table over here, so I'll just put this actual. If I put this table over here, this table will do left join to this table. So this is what you will have to keep in mind while using syntax. Now, suppose you have this kind of a situation, right? You have created a very big script. In the first script, you brought in one table. In the last script, in the last section, you have brought in another table. You want to do, like in this scenario, I want to do the left join of this table to this table. That is where you'll have to use the table name. So you can explicitly say left join table name.
Okay.
Right. So you don't have to worry where the join or where the field is. You can just say left join to that specific table. Same thing for concatenation. When I use concatenate, it will always concatenate to the preceding table. Now, if I want to concatenate to a specific table, I can always say concatenate territory ID, territory.
So it will only concatenate this table. If there are
Yeah,
if there is a third table, then it will not do that.
you're right.
In
Right.
that
If there is
in
any script in between, yeah, if there is any other table in between, it won't concatenate.
okay.
All right. So now, okay. So the joins and concatenate is clear, right? So
Right.
concatenation joins. Right. So let's
And
see and
keep.
keep, right, keep and joins and keep are the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say join and keep.
So Ajra, today we are extending the class, or we are just
Yeah. No, I'm good to extend. So that was the idea. So, are you okay?
actually I have some work in the morning. I have only 1 hour for the class.
Okay.
I have
Okay. No.
sorry So can we continue with this on tomorrow?
Fine, fine. I'm good. I'm good. No worries. Yeah.
Yes. So we can start from this from tomorrow, right?
Sure, sure. Yeah, we'll start. So tomorrow, yeah, I think this is good for today. So keep concatenation. You can run through it. We'll start tomorrow. No worries.
Okay. Because today I think we cover all the joins and the key functions, so I need to
Yes.
practice those also.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You go ahead and practice it. So
Yeah.
we'll run through it tomorrow. Yeah.
Azra, if you remember, I talked about my project also. So we can
Right.
discuss little bit on tomorrow.
Fine. We'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. We'll discuss. We'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. Bye.